You know, I can't say it like I want to.
Go ahead, be free.
Like, I don't believe in using my influence
Mm-hmm.
to persuade someone to
Come,
stay
say it again for the
in
people in the back.
I don't believe that any person of influence
Yes.
should use their influence
Yes.
to convince
Come on.
someone to go or to stay.
That's good. That's good.
I think that as marriage counselors and as we, talk with different couples and individuals, it is our task to present a different perspective,
Right.
to cause that couple or that individual to see it another way or to present it from a different angle, to consider some things that anger, that bitterness, that sadness, that depression, that,
Can cover up.
that can cover up. So we come to the table with 18 years in the game. So just some things that you might not think of when you say, I hate this man, I hate this woman, I want out, I'm not happy. Okay. There's some things you got to consider if you stay.
Or if you go.
All right, come on.
We want you to make an informed decision. We will not sway you one way or the other. We will not give you the go ahead or tell you to stay. We are going to give you information and say, whatever decision you make, we support you in that.
This is Marriages for Grown Folks. Let's go.
All right. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
It's another episode. I'm John.
I'm Brittany.
This is Marriages for Grown Folks. If this is your first time tuning in, we want to welcome you. We are here to share our failures,
Yes.
our wins, things that we've learned over now 18 years of marriage.
18 plus.
I think we forgot to say that last.
We're knocking at the door at 19.
18. We can vote now.
Yes.
So we want to just share with you tonight. This is part 2. We didn't finish last episode, which was the ingredients for intimacy. Will you go over which item in the 5 ingredients of intimacy that we covered?
Sure. So the 5 ingredients are safety, time, engagement, curiosity. I'm excited about that one. Investment. Last time we went over safety and we kind of broke it down, and then we kind of started really diving deep into that.
Oh, you read these?
No, I read the 5 different ingredients.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So we dealt with safety. Under safety was trust, empathy, respect, validation, consistency, and vulnerability.
Definitely.
And then we just kind of talked about how all of those attributes of safety play into a relationship.
So if you're catching this episode and you didn't get a chance to watch the last one, you probably might want to catch the first one we did on safety, because it kind of laid a groundwork to this next one that we're going to deal with, which is investment.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that we brought out in the last episode that is important to also remember on the topic of investment is that each individual in the relationship must go within first.
Absolutely.
We're trying to solve a problem that exists in the relationship. It is imperative that both parties go in.
Right.
Why is that? Why do you think that's important?
Honestly, a lot of times the problem that's in the relationship is a problem that we came into the relationship with. It doesn't mean that it may totally be your issue, but if you're bringing 2 broken people together and trying to make them whole, you're going to run into a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And then if you have one broken person and one healthy person, if that healthy person tries to highlight something or give constructive criticism, then you're going to also run into problems in the relationship.
I agree.
If you have half-healed people, then, half the time you're going to have issues. So it's just important to know what you bring to the table, positive and negative, because then you're able to take ownership of what is your issue versus what is your partner's issue.
Yeah.
And I think that when you take ownership, things don't have to be an argument. It can be a conversation.
That's good. conversation. How long do you think that it took us?
Oh, Lord.
Years for it to just be a conversation.
I think 8 years. I think the first 8 years we were really trying to navigate, okay, what does this thing look like? And to me, that doesn't mean that we didn't have seasons of good communication, but I'm saying 8 years till we were able to consistently flow in healthy communication. Yeah,
I agree.
I would say at least 8.
This is a question I just thought of.
We got it together quick enough that our kids don't remember. So for that, I'm very thankful, but we definitely remember it.
I have a question that I want to ask those of you who are watching.
Okay.
And you too.
Question is,
what example
oof,
did you see growing up that, like, what's the blueprint? I guess my question would be. And there are some people who have a parental, like a marriage unit that you grew up in that is the baseline for your expectation for your relationship.
Yeah.
I expect to deliver XYZ and I expect my partner to deliver XYZ. These are non-negotiables and I expect our relationship to produce these 5 ingredients for intimacy.
Yeah.
But there are also like households and environments that we have come out of that weren't positive,
Right.
that were dysfunctional, that were traumatic,
Right.
that were whatever you want to name it. So for those of us who came out of home environments that
were abnormal, dysfunctional, toxic,
and they're
chaotic.
not a candidate to come into your new relationship, where do you get your pattern from? Where do you get your blueprint from?
I love that. I think in those cases, you get a blueprint of what not to do. So I think that if you have the insight, the wisdom, the guidance to look at what was broken in your upbringing, then you can start making an informed decision. Okay, this negatively affected me. This negatively affected the relationship that I was watching. So this is something that I don't want to do in the relationship. So what do I need to do to prepare myself so that I don't show up in that way concerning my
I think
partner?
that's good. My pushback
Come on with the pushback.
on that is, and I think you would agree too, that everything that you're trying to build cannot solely be built on the opposite of something negative. There has to be some type of positive pattern that you can pull from. It can't all be the opposite of, because if everything is the opposite of, then you run the risk of bitterness. You run the risk of doing the opposite out of resentment. You run the risk of making your partner be the exact opposite of the negative that you're trying to pattern it after. So if I had a bad mother, I'm expecting you to do 100% of the polar opposite of what my mother did not do, because I'm trying to build you in my mind off of a negative example without adding in, okay, why was my mother this way?
Yeah, I think you have to be healthy in order to allow like a negative environment to be your blueprint of what not to do.
I agree.
Because if not, you're right. All of those things are going to come up. Resentment, bitterness, anger, pain.
Inside work.
Right. But if you come to the relationship whole or mature and ready for the relationship, like an adult or a grown person.
It's for who?
Grown folks. Then you're able to I feel like pull it apart and pick it apart. So then you're really aware, like, okay, my mom did A, B, and C out of survival, out of not having the tools that was needed, out of thinking that she was doing what was best for me. And that is the truth and the reality. Although some of those choices had a negative effect on me, she still was doing the best she could.
Yeah.
And so because I'm aware of that, things that would trigger me if I didn't have that awareness or wasn't clear on that, they're not triggering for me anymore. Now, there was a season that they were. That first 8 years, baby, it was trigger.
I think it's important to know why, what blueprint you don't want to duplicate.
Right.
Why was it the way that it was?
Yeah.
So to your point, you can't just take all of the negatives and say, I want the exact opposite.
Right.
You need to know why whoever left you a bad blueprint, why they left a bad blueprint.
Yes.
You can't just do the opposite.
That's good.
So why you, like you said, your mother was what did you say, struggling? She was trying to make ends meet. What did you say?
Just now?
Yeah.
I said she made some of the choices she made, but she did it because she struggled a lot.
Just trying to make
She had a lot of relationships that were failed. A lot of marriages that were failed.
To know why. So we were trying to do all 5 of these ingredients.
Y'all, it's too much. It's too much.
So let's do investment tonight. Actions over words is number 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This diagram, we got this from Elizabeth Frederick on Instagram. We saw this graph. It's a pie that we're looking at. And so they're broken up into 5 slices of this pie. And so we're going to deal with investment tonight. I think that there are some bullet points in investment that we really can talk about.
Right.
Aid couples that are in relationship, single digit years, double digit years, hopefully. And those of you who are not partnered with anyone that may want to be partnered with someone, or if you are non-married and you just want to enhance your friendships, these bullet points can impact and positively affect all types of relationships.
Correct. Absolutely.
There's something that I wrote down in just kind of meditating over this and looking over these bullet points. And I think we touched on it. I was on violence last episode.
He chose violence.
I will agree. I had my inhaler. I wanted to smoke. You cannot, this is at least how I see it. You ain't got to take our word for it. But I wrote, you can't invest in a marriage that you are emotionally disconnected from.
Well, okay, before you choose violence tonight, give the people the 6 attributes of investment. Then we're going to go back because
I just wanted to lay that first.
I'm
actions over words.
Yes.
Intentional efforts.
Yes.
Taking in feedback.
Yes. Come on now.
I love that one. I love this one. Healing old wounds.
Yes, Lord. Yes. That right there.
We're coming tonight.
That right there.
Making changes. This is all under investment. We're
talking
about
glory.
The ingredients to intimacy.
We're just going to wave our hand right there.
Making changes.
Yes.
And then follow through.
Well.
Follow through.
Not good behavior one time.
Yeah, follow through.
Follow through.
You get to follow. You got to swing. You golfing, you got to follow through.
Yes.
So, now let me say this about intimacy. Let you do the first one.
Ooh, no, you got to go back to your statement, but you just had to give the people the information.
So you can't, I'm going to say it's very difficult. We'll leave some room to invest in a relationship or a marriage that you are emotionally disconnected from. So before we even talk about investing,
yes,
before we even get to point 2, which is investment. First one was safety. The second one is investment. Before we even start talking about investment, if you are emotionally disconnected from that relationship, cut the video off, share it to somebody, then cut it off. This is not going to help you if you are checked out for legitimate reasons
or illegitimate
reasons. Billie Jean said, he's not my son. Legitimate or illegitimate? Get a blood test first and find out if it's legitimate first before you watch this episode.
Because Mike said, and it ain't my baby.
And people who are emotionally checked out, like if all things are even, you're not trying to invest in the relationship. You're trying to get out of it.
Yeah. what they gonna say that justify me serving these divorce papers? Just stand on business and say, baby, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. And I'm sorry, because I probably could have did better, and I'm sure you could have done better, but it's over. It's a wrap.
I told someone the other day, gone are the days that, like, you know, I can't say it like I want to.
Go ahead, be free.
Like, I don't believe in using my influence to persuade someone to stay.
Say it again for the people in the back.
I don't believe that any person of influence should use their influence to convince someone to go or to stay.
That's good. That's good.
I think that as marriage counselors and as we, talk with different couples and individuals, it is our task to present a different perspective,
right? To
cause that couple or that individual to see it another way, or to present it from a different angle, to consider some things that anger, that bitterness, that sadness, that depression, that can cover up. So we come to the table with 18 years in the game. So just some things that you might not think of when you say, I hate this man, I hate this woman, I want out, I'm not happy. Okay, there's some things you got to consider if you stay.
Or if you go.
All right, come on.
We want you to make an informed decision. We will not sway you one way or the other. We will not give you the go ahead or tell you to stay. We are going to give you information and say, whatever decision you make, we support you in that.
Can I say one thing and then we're going to get into these points?
Please do.
I have to do a separate video on this, but a dear brother of mine, I was considering making a very big decision. I had a conviction on what my decision was going to be. I knew why I was going to make the decision. I was well informed. I was sober, but I was still wrestling with the finality of making this decision.
Okay, that's good.
A friend of mine who lives in Chicago called me. He was aware of the situation front and back.
Ooh.
And he said to me something that will forever stick with me in regards to relationships, decisions. Should I go? Should I stay? Should I fight? Is it worth it? Because like a lot of couples who we sit with, if they're not there, they have been there.
Right.
Is the juice worth the squeeze? We're drinking pineapple juice tonight. Is the juice worth the squeeze? And so my friend asked me, he said, let me take you out of the situation. He said, if your son, your biological son, whom you love, whom you're well pleased with, was in the same situation that you were in, and he called you and said, Dad, what should I do?
Well,
what would you, before he could even get the full question out, I said, drop everything that you have. Leave it all. Don't explain nothing to nobody. Get your shit and get out. Start driving to me, and I'm going to start driving to you, I'll meet you halfway. We'll find a way to do something without, but drop everything. Come quick. Craig's in trouble. So I think that when we're in a situation, sometimes it's difficult to see it for what it is, to know what to do about it, because we're upon it. But sometimes taking the same situation, something that you have said, I won't tolerate, I won't, something that's harming you, something that you need to speak up about. Sometimes we won't speak up on it for ourselves, but we will speak out on it in defense of someone else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll make excuses for why we need to endure, why we got the strength to suffer a little bit longer and tarry with folks instead of just standing on business.
So had he not, I knew I was clear on my decision. But I still felt this, I feel sorry. And what about it? All that stuff. But when when he put my son, I was, no.
Flesh of your flesh.
No.
Bone of your bone. He said not.
So he asked me this and I'm done. He said, then why is it okay for you?
Ooh.
But it's not okay for your son?
Well, that's a word.
Now we're not, this is not to condone you leaving something or somebody. I'm simply telling this story to get you to see that you may not be seeing it clearly.
Right.
Because you're looking through your own eyes.
Yeah.
But if you take someone who you love, who who doesn't have a dog in the fight, you may be able to make the decision or the assessment a little clearer if you see it through the eyes of somebody who's not engrafted and ingrained like you are. Okay, we've got work to do tonight. So number one is under investment is actions
over words.
over words.
Listen.
You said this last, I'm gonna let you speak on it again, just in case they missed it in part one of the ingredients of intimacy. You said that consistency cultivates safety.
Yes, it does.
Why does
consistency?
It does. Yes. What is it about consistency that cultivates safety?
Well, I think that consistency is the way that you build a rapport with your partner. So, not saying you're going to be perfect every day. And to me, consistency does not mean perfection, but it means that I know you. I know, your temperament. I know what your response is normally going to be. I know how you show up for me because you have done it so routinely or so consistently that I know. So if something is off or if something goes awry, I'm not immediately swept away in my emotions. To me, it makes me pause and say, you okay? What's going on? Because this is not normally how we engage each other. So what's really going on, babe? Because something's different. Because you've already shown me consistently who and what you are. So if it's abnormal, then that's an indication to me as his partner, something, he must not be okay.
And those of you who have been married 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, we consider 5 and under newlyweds still.
Yeah.
When you've been together for a good amount of time, I got something to say on that. Patterns become more easily recognizable.
Right.
So, and some of you who are,
and change.
Yeah, and change. Those of you who are really into your partner, it may not take you as long as other couples or relationships or other people. But because we've been together 18 years, she's just got a rhythm and a vibe to her and an aura that I know of and vice versa.
Right.
So if I walk in the room, I don't have to say anything. She can feel it.
That's true.
That's one of the positives of being together for a long period of time.
Yeah.
In knocking boots, you understand? We got the same. You got my DNA, baby girl. You understand? I'm in you. Hey, wherever you go, man, my spirit go with you. Everywhere you go, take the road. Everywhere.
How rosy are my cheeks? That's the question.
They're probably 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but for real, now listen, I'm going to tell you why, you being with that person is even scientifically, something happens that person that you're with, whether you like it or not, there's a wiring that is being intertwined. 2 women that have a monthly cycle, if they are around each other on a consistent basis enough, those menstrual cycles will begin to sync together.
Meaning occur at the same time.
To occur at the same time. You messed my reel up. But that's good. I'm glad you had me on that. I messed
what kind of syncing is happening?
So let me say it again. So what I'm saying is that we are wired for connection.
That's right.
When 2 women that have a menstrual cycle are around each other on a consistent basis, their menstrual cycles can what'd you say?
Can begin to occur around the same time.
Begin to occur around the same time.
Yeah.
Consistency not only builds safety, consistency also wires us together.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going with it. Okay.
So I think that what you said last episode is so true. My anxiety begins to calm.
Right.
Because I am aware that the pattern
Yeah.
There's a pattern.
Right.
So, you come home and you have a certain cadence to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I know what's going to cause her to crash out.
He
I
does.
know what's going to set her off. I know what makes her calm.
Yes.
So there's a pattern.
That's
so I'm
true.
not guessing. Now, okay, I'm going to say this, we're going.
Yes.
Those of you who grew up in households
Mm-hmm.
and home environments
Yeah.
that when you got home from school or from Big Mama's house or from daycare, it was like a box of chocolates. You did not
You never know
what
you're gonna get.
in the hell you were going to get.
Yeah.
Especially if there was any kind of substance abuse in the home,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there was any kind of mental health
Mm-hmm.
issues,
Alcohol.
alcoholism, etc. It set your nervous system to be on high alert.
Yes.
PTSD, real talk, that I am in fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
In my formative years, that will show up if it has not been addressed, if the work has not been done, if healing has not been received in that area. So when we talk about investment and we talk about actions over words and safety,
Right.
being cultivated by consistency, it is important to invest and investigate
Right.
what kind of household environment.
And for people who grew up like that, words sound good, but until they see it in full manifestation, it can be hard for them to believe it no matter how hard they want to.
This is the last point on this. Small actions matter, sometimes more than grand gestures.
You know, one of my favorite things that John does, if he knows like I have something big coming up at work, or he knows I've had a really stressful week, he will put a sticky note on my steering wheel. And I think it's the cutest thing ever. Y'all, I'm allergic to flowers. I love flowers, but baby, I'm going to be sick the next day if I put some flowers on my bedside table. I'm going to be sick if I leave them out somewhere where they're going to go through our system and come back out. Plants. I'm a plant mom. But flowers, whoo, baby, flowers will tear me up. Right. So the little note that he leaves, and it doesn't even matter if he's saying a joke or if he's encouraging me or if he's just saying he loves me. It's like, okay, I'm not out here by myself. I'm not fighting this world alone. I have somebody who's like supporting and cheering me on. So yeah. I love my little sticky note. And it maybe costs what? $1 for it. Yeah, I'm like, it's stuff we already got at the house. Exactly.
It's the action.
It's the action of seeing like, okay, she had a lot on her plate this week, and I just want her to know that she's not alone. It's like all of that is felt in that one note.
To that point, number 2, intentional efforts. Intentional efforts communicate you are worth my energy. Now, I'm going to tell you why I know that everyone who's watching this can resonate with that, because there's so much on our plate.
Yeah.
There is so much on our plates, and there are so many things that need our attention.
Show you right.
To do something, to do a gesture, to write a note on a steering wheel is small, but it sends that individual on a thought of, you thought about me. Like you took the time out to do something that was out of your normal day-to-day routine.
Right.
And you paused. Now, when you grown and you got a career, you got kids, you got school, you trying to work out, you trying to eat healthy.
Yes.
Trying to keep the edges right. You trying to get that waist snatched.
Everything. Yes.
To let that person know I added something. Now, if you married to somebody who's silly, it ain't gonna never mind.
It ain't gonna matter.
But if you're in a relationship with someone who understands what you may have on your plate, or you may understand what you have on your plate, I want to do something so that, listen, this is the whole point about intentional efforts, so that in the hard times, so that when the stuff is hitting the fan, you in your own mind can go back to, so like when you pissed off at me, when I'm pissed off at you, one of the things that goes through our mind is, he don't care, she don't care,
right?
And I do and you start going down the list. But sometimes it helps to have something tangible.
Listen.
That proves an intentional effort.
I love that. Okay, so let me tell you something that I read. I was reading this article and it was talking about how gratitude work. helps reset our body, like our nervous system.
Okay.
So I think that in those moments, if we are able to speak about what we're grateful for in those other individuals, it can kind of help combat those moments of, well, you don't, you don't, you don't. So, and it's good for our body. Who want to be stressed? I don't want to be in fight or flight.
Let's say this and then we'll move.
Yes.
Intentional efforts count,
Yes, they do. They matter.
even if they're clumsy.
Explain.
Like if I can't cook, if I can't cook a full course meal, I can barbecue, but I can't do the sides and all that. So, like, let's say if she comes home from work one day and she just don't have it, and I say I'm going to do dinner tonight, and I cook I smoked a barbecue, and then I attempt to do sides, and let's say I burn the sides. Let's say
He's definitely going to burn the sides, y'all.
I mess up the
Maybe the
side
barbecue
dishes.
too.
I do instant potatoes because I can't do the real potatoes. If she is aware that I'm attempting to make an intentional effort, even if
He still gets
if
credit.
it falls through,
Yeah.
it really is the thought. Now we still got to eat. You know what I'm saying? We got to find a solution.
We gonna clown and then we gonna go get a pizza or eat something else. But yeah,
But in her book, it counts as,
you took something off my plate. You get credit. Listen.
and I need you to repay me.
Okay, here you go. Here you go. He can't help. Just
So intentional efforts for those of you who like, did something wrong. You only received praise when you did something well, not just for being.
come on.
You were only rewarded. You were only shown love. You were only shown appreciation
Right.
when you did well.
Right. You got first place in the race. Okay, now we're gonna praise you. You made straight A's. Okay, now we're gonna praise you.
But you were shunned, rejected, ostracized when you did something bad. Then in your relationship,
Yeah.
there's a strong tendency that you could be shell shocked and afraid or ashamed or less likely to put yourself out there to make an investment, to make an intentional effort, because in your home environment, you saw how it was handled, or even with that partner. So let's do some work real quick. So one of the things that you could do if you fit that criteria where I've tried and it didn't work or etc., this is something that you would agree with, that you could say to your partner, listen, I did XYZ. It was an intentional effort and I put myself out there. I want you to know, or when I cook sides, I know I'm not good at it, but I want you to know that I'm doing it to tell that person where it's coming from. Yesterday, I did XYZ. I waited a week to see if you would acknowledge it. Did you see that ladies, here y'all go. Did you see my nails? The world is on fire. No, I did not see your nails the day you got them done. And so there was a time where she would be like, I got my nails done 3 days ago. You ain't saying nothing about my nails yet. Just show me the nails. Come on, hold the nails up. Don't they look nice? This is cheetah, leopard print.
They can't see the design.
Okay.
They can't see it.
All right. Now, 18 years in,
Trying to get the light on it.
we were playing dominoes, and she said to me, did you notice my nails? Oh, girl, your nails. Come on, let me give you some praise. Looks good on you. Dude, your nails look so nice. I didn't notice. I got too much.
This is the face I made.
Now, that would have been in year 1 through 5.
Oh, he would have lost it.
That would have been
You said you wanted praise, and it still ain't good enough for you.
or it would have been a problem on her end.
Right.
You didn't acknowledge. Now we got to trace back. Okay.
Yeah. Why?
When in your childhood did you do something that somebody
Didn't acknowledge.
Didn't acknowledge. Come on, we got to get on this therapy couch. So now that we're 18 years in, and not that 18 years in is a magic number, not that 10 years in is a magic number. You can be 5 years in and still do this work and still, but for us, because we've done the work, 18 years in, this nigga didn't notice my name. Let me show him. Cause I know cause I know if he like it, he gonna gas it up.
Y'all, let me tell y'all something funny, right? So he did that day. Now, let me tell you why I know he was being so extra. Cause then 2 days later, he go, when you get that done, I like that. I said, these are the same nails that you was being so extra about. But like now we able to laugh about that kind of stuff. Cause I'm just like, I put what I wanted to put on my nails. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So if you're putting yourself out there, if you're doing something, if you're taking an intentional effort
Right.
to communicate something to your partner and
Right.
they are missing it,
Yes.
tell them, hey, listen,
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm busting it open. I'm washing cars. I'm vacuuming. I'm filling your tank up. I'm making sure you got whatever it is that you need. I'm going out of my way, because what happens is that's it, busting it open. When you're doing it and you're doing it for a response.
Okay, come on. If you're doing something with an expectation that your partner is going to respond in a way, baby, please inform them that you're looking for a response, because you might not get it. And it's crazy. Why was I expecting you to respond to my nails? That's the real question. All the other stuff we had on our plate.
Nails is the last thing.
Nails and hair, baby. Let me come home with a fresh hairdo or some fresh nails and he don't notice it. Ooh. And then what made it worse, we got a son and a daughter. My kids be like, ooh, mama. And I'm looking like, y'all daddy didn't even notice. And y'all all off in my face.
30 things
Hanging
on one
off
plate
my leg. But
versus
they didn't have no
3 things on the
responsibility,
plate.
right?
You better tell them. They got channels on their soundboard to do extra stuff. All the channels on my soundboard, the whole the
He like, I'm working, I'm paying bills,
Man,
I'm looking
come
out,
on.
I'm thinking about 6
Matthew,
months
show
from
me
now.
your nails, I praise you. But that's why I praise you. I'll lift you up. Okay, we gotta finish.
Ooh.
I love this one. These
Okay.
next 2,
Yes.
we try not to get stuck on these, but these are so good. So we covered actions over words.
Yes.
Intentional efforts.
Absolutely.
Taking in feedback.
Well, just let that breathe for a second.
Now, one of the things that feedback does, again, our baseline is you must go within.
Mm-hmm.
You must go within.
That's right. That's right.
If you take that person who you're in a relationship with and they get kidnapped, somebody put them in somebody's trunk,
Well,
you still have to deal with you.
that's right.
If you divorce them and marry someone else, you're going to it's going to be the same song.
Say it one more time.
If you marry and divorce.
That's right.
And you have not done your soul work.
Yes.
You're going to find a different song.
Huh.
The same song,
Different
but it's
verse.
a different verse.
Yes.
You're going to
Yes.
pick right back up where you left off.
Well, I hope y'all heard that in the back.
It doesn't, well, so-and-so makes me feel validated. If you don't carry validation,
Come on.
if you don't, it's called self-esteem.
Huh.
If you have not
husband esteem,
Okay, all right.
not wife esteem, self.
you still have the same history.
Lord.
You don't get with somebody else and erase your history for the lack of the word. It's not a video game. You don't get to start over with new lives.
You know what people do?
What?
They think that by signing a marriage certificate, it's like taking amnesia pills and you're going to magically forget everything that happened to you before. Lies and fairy tales.
Let me add this to that. I'm going to tell you how I know that's true. Because the last person that you with, whether you want to agree with it or not, they are the last example.
Well,
And what happens is that
Of
when
how
you
you
get with
govern a
someone
relationship.
who is better, who has done the soul work, if you have not done your own work and you leave one relationship because you didn't want to do your own work and go within, and you get with a new person who's whole, who's better, he treats me right, she treats me right,
they not going to tolerate your
they're
foolishness.
gonna say, I'm not your ex. I'm not the one who hurt you.
And then you're going to be triggered because you have not done the work yet. But that is true. Because when you healed inside, you got healthy boundaries, baby. And it's a whole lot of stuff you ain't tolerating no more.
Kelly Price said, you're not my daddy, you're my man. I think it's time you understand.
Well,
So and so I want you to hear us leaving Sometimes it's the answer,
Right.
but it's not the full answer.
Right. Might be the answer
I
for
got
your
a good
partner, but
therapist.
it
She
might
from
not be.
Indonesia. I mean, she be had me in that office toe up. So if Brittany ever decides to leave me, if I ever decide to leave Brittany,
Yeah.
and I changed it, we changed the name of the volume.
Oh my
If we
God.
ever decide to part ways,
Yeah.
I've still got work to do. Those are still
Yeah.
our children.
That's right.
I'm still their father. Like
Yeah.
the work doesn't stop. I still have relationships. I still have purpose. I still have a career.
Yeah.
I still have purpose in the earth.
Yeah.
So anyway, taking in feedback really requires, I forgot why I said that. Because, what is it? Feedback challenges the ego.
Well.
It builds emotional maturity, but it also challenges the ego. Remember what the ego is? When we study the ego?
Ego, super ego,
Yeah.
and what's the third one?
Id.
Id. Oh,
So the
Jesus.
cartoon that first comes to my mind, and they kind of coined it after. If you ever seen The Simpsons, The Simpsons is one of the first cartoons.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry is what I always remember it on.
Okay, Tom and Jerry.
But it's okay. We can use it for both.
The person's head is in the middle. The angel is on one shoulder, and the devil is on the other shoulder.
Yeah.
That illustration is an example of morality or the superego.
Yeah.
Or your id or your impulses.
Or your idiot.
Your idiot,
Yeah.
which would be representative of the devil. And the person's head in the middle would be representative of the ego.
Okay, so I have a question because I don't remember it from The Simpsons, but I wasn't an avid Simpson watcher. Was there conscious still versions of themselves? Because on Tom and Jerry, it would be the cats. It would be him. But one was like, and I thought that was, yeah. The more I learned about that, I was like, wow, that's cool.
All of these three entities are in the same brain.
Come on, the same body.
They're same different sides of that psyche.
Yes.
The person in the middle, or the ego,
come on,
is supposed to balance the negative and the positive.
Yeah.
The positive is overly positive. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
And the id, or the devil on the other side, is saying, get back at them, eat the whole cake, etc. So when we speak of ego, we said that to say, what?
I have to just speak to this for 1 second. Y'all, I'm going to be brief. I think that we have to stop assuming that because of the example we saw of the angel and the devil, that the angel is always right and that the id or the devil is always wrong. You really need a little bit of both to bring balance. And I think that that's what you're speaking to when you're saying like the ego is so important because it's supposed to bring balance. Because there are times when you should take risk, but there's also times when you should be like, okay, wait, I choose kindness. Even though you being real raggedy right now, I'm still going to choose kindness. So I think both of them have a place. I think the issue is that the superego has an extreme, and so does the id, or,
So to that point, the ego's job is to provide balance.
Yes.
To satisfy the impulsive side, but to also satisfy the morality side of you.
That's right.
When the ego is bruised, this goes back to our point about taking in feedback. When the ego is bruised, feedback feels like an attack. When we have been injured, when the home environment, when the previous relationship that we've been in has scarred us, has traumatized us, the entity or the aspect of our brain that's supposed to provide balance leaves. It hides, it retreats, it's been severed, it's been decapitated, rendered unoperative.
Yes.
I'm looking for a word.
I think sometimes when morality is not taught incorrectly, it damages the ego. Simply because you no longer trust your own ego.
We can't do that.
So then when it comes to getting feedback, it's automatically an attack. But it's an attack because your ego is already damaged. So you like, okay, well, I already feel some kind of way about myself, which you talked about self-esteem. And we may not know that the origin of the damage that was caused to our ego really came from something in our formative years.
You're trying to go all the way down.
No,
So,
I'm not. I'm just
come
saying.
on back up.
I'm just saying. I'm just
So
saying.
taking in feedback is essential
Yes.
because if you're doing what you're doing for that other person, you want to know
Yeah.
how they are processing it.
Yeah. Or how it's being received.
How it's being, that's
Your
feedback.
intentions can be amazing, but if it's not being received the way you think it's being received by your partner, you should want the feedback so you can make the necessary adjustments.
So feedback is not always, if you assume that feedback is negative,
That's right.
you gotta do some soul work.
Yeah.
Because not all feedback is negative.
That's right.
There is feedback that is
Positive. Absolutely.
or neutral.
Yeah.
I read a
Insightful.
status that said the other day, everybody is grown until it is time to apologize or communicate.
AKA take ownership of
Next
one's own behavior.
Okay, this is our favorite one, I think. This is our favorite one.
Yes.
Healing old wounds. 30 seconds.
30
Why is
seconds.
healing old wounds important?
Okay. Healing old wounds is important. Number one, because it means that you're walking in an awareness that they even exist and you're not acting like your upbringing had zero effect on you. Healing old wounds is important because if I am broken, if I am tattered, I am bringing all of that brokenness, all of that dysfunction, all of that chaos into this relationship that I am then trying to like make wholeness out of. Healing old wounds is important just for me to be able to live a healthy life, whether I'm in a relationship or all by myself. Healing old wounds ensures that I'm able to enjoy the life that I'm currently experiencing and I'm not waiting or holding my breath for something else negative to occur. I'll stop there.
I like it. I'm gonna give you 3. I'm not even gonna explain them. You already know.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give you 3 characteristics of how an old wound can show up.
Oh.
Okay. Number 1, control. Janet Jackson. Control is a byproduct of an old wound. Number 2, withdrawal. When you withdraw, it can be an indication that there is an old wound that is coming to the surface.
Yeah.
And number 3, an overreaction.
Well,
we say that if you're, what do you say, hysterical?
If you're hysterical, then it is historical.
There you go.
Meaning, is the situation you're responding to really a big deal like you're responding to? Or were you triggered in that moment? And so now your response is magnified because you're not just responding to now, but you are also responding for the little girl that didn't have any defenses, for the little boy that didn't have any defenses.
I love that. So healing old wounds, we've kind of said it through both of these episodes.
Yeah.
We say going within, we're talking about addressing the first time that you can recall that you felt that way.
That's right.
That's going within. So healing old wounds, if you're going to invest in your relationship,
yes,
you've got to address old wounds.
Yes.
And it's a journey. This is not a one-stop shop. There are still things that are old, that are wounds that come up through moving through my life.
Yeah.
Like I have an active therapist. So, new things come up, new things trigger old things. And so this is a journey. This is not, I've done it, I'm complete. We're there because we've been married 5 years, 10 years, 18 years because we didn't been through it. We got all the answers. Kanye said, you don't have all the answers, Sway. Yeah. Okay, we got 2 more. Making changes.
Yes.
I said, I wrote this down. I want you to tell me what you think about it. Change requires grief.
Ooh. Okay, y'all.
My therapist told me that I had to lay back on that couch and put my size 12s up.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say about that. Because that is a mouthful. Change requires grief. To me, what I hear you saying is in order for me to evolve, transform, become the new and improved version of myself, I have to be willing to grieve the old version of me. So there are things that I have become comfortable and complacent with that I now have to look at and say, "Ooh, but are they really aiding me in this season of my life?" And if the answer is no, it doesn't matter how comfortable I am with it. I still have to be willing to abandon it to become what I'm saying I really want to be. I'm going to give y'all a snippet of my example. A caterpillar, its view on life, its ability, its mobility is completely different from what it starts as to what it becomes. It becomes a butterfly. So it has to be cramped up in this little cocoon as this whole metamorphosis is happening. Do you think that's comfortable? No, it's grieving being able to eat up all the leaves. Man, I miss that leaf. I miss getting the chow down on this leaf. And now when it emerges, it has to like, whoa, got something new going on. I get to see life from a whole different perspective now. People are admiring me. Tell me the last time you went looking for a caterpillar. But if you see a colorful butterfly, it's going to catch your attention. He's like, oh, did you see that? Like, it's not even trying to get attention. Just simply the way in which it's made, you admire its beauty. But it had to go through some grief to get to that state. So I think that if we are willing to look at it in that way, then it reminds us, okay, there's a process that has to, occur if I really want to become what I'm saying I want to become. And it's not going to all feel good. There's grief associated with it.
I can remember times that I've made changes and I didn't realize that I was grieving then, but in therapy and getting older and reflecting, I really did grieve even changes in our relationship, like just changes with you, changes with me, changes with our household.
Yeah.
That really, some short periods of grief, sometimes long periods of grief. But I think that when you can name it, it is so important. It is so beneficial to be able to name the emotion. When you can name it, you can research it, you can do something about it, you can speak it, you can articulate it, and inform yourself and inform those around you. This is what it is. I'm grieving, so that you know how to handle yourself, and those that are around you or the person that is around you that is in relationship with you can also be aware, okay, this person is grieving at this time of their life because there's been a change. And it could be because of a change that you initiated. So
it doesn't mean that the change is bad just because you have grief associated with it. And I think that's important to know too.
The last one. This is a good one as well. Follow through.
Come on.
Read this. Follow through builds trust and lowers emotional stress. Broken promises create emotional fatigue and can lead to hopelessness and emotional shutdown. Follow through.
Follow through.
So if I make you a promise, Jagged Edge, if I make you a promise and I don't keep it, I've got to tell you why I didn't keep it.
Now you asking for folks to be mature.
I got to tell you why I didn't keep it. I didn't keep it.
Yes.
Because this, that, whatever. We set a goal and we didn't meet that goal. I didn't meet that goal. If I set a goal for myself, if I set a goal for us and we didn't meet it, that has an effect. That could hinder your belief in me when I say something the next time I say, I am going to.
Right.
So follow through. It goes back to what you said for the first point to me about safety and consistency. If emotionally I am erratic, I am off the handle one day. Now listen, if you need medicine,
please take your pill.
Take your medicine. I told you about my friend who went to the healing service. whatever you need to regulate you emotionally, whatever practices, whether it's meditation, whether it's going down to the prayer line, whether it's whatever you do to bring you back center, grounded, whole, together, even kill, normalcy. Do that. As long as it don't cause harm to you, cause harm to others, we with it. But
put your feet in some grass, take some deep breaths, let the sun shine on
you. When you jump in the car, you got to put that ground. You need that ground wire to be attached to something that's grounded. So it is for you as an individual. Follow through is important, and the more you follow through, the less convincing, the less conversation has to be done. When you build a track record that when you say something, you're going to do it, I can just rest in what you said because I know the track record speaks for itself. But I know a lot of couples who we've talked to down through the years that one or two individuals, the follow-through game, if it is weak, you can't build anything on it. So,
and it really don't matter how good the hammer is if you ain't got no follow-through. I'm just saying.
So we're talking about intimacy. This is the last point, then we stop. So because of the climate that our world is in,
absolutely,
loneliness seems like it's at an all-time high. I did a eulogy for a funeral this past Saturday of a young man who took his life, late 20s. And there was at least 200 people in the room. And I asked a simple question for everyone to stand who had ever contemplated, whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 years, taking their own life, just considered it, to stand. Over 75% of that 200 plus person room church stood from the front door to the back door. So I bring that point up that like loneliness, what's happening in our country right now is taking not only impacting us economically, politically, financially, but also mentally. There's a very high level of mental fight that people are in. It's taking a toll, even from COVID till now. Mentally, America is going through it. And so when we talk about, this is our last point, when we're talking about intimacy, that person that you sleep next to, it is important for you to feel safe.
That's right.
To be able to build a level of intimacy with that person that you're with, because it is crazy as hell out here. And if you're going to be married to somebody, if you're going to be having kids with somebody, if you're going to be sharing a mortgage or a rent or a car note with someone, you want to invest in the intimacy with that person. If not, you're going to be around here cheated. Because people are lonely, and
here you go.
They're like, okay, I'll say like this.
Oh my God.
I've been married 18 years.
Yes.
There's nothing that God has made more finer than a woman. I can't hear nobody. Your face. This
and your body.
This woman I was working with, he's African. He said, "Are you Nigerian?" She said, "No, I'm not Nigerian." She said, "Why'd you ask me that?" He said, "Because your face and your body shit." I said, "You're going to go HR, this was going on." But what he was saying is, I like what you putting down. People are lonely out here. And if we didn't have intimacy built, if we're not building intimacy, like
what we doing?
Just because I got this, like, okay, women see a man who's married 18 years. Ooh, I could tell y'all an example. Taking care of his family, that's attractive.
Yeah.
Especially if you with a dud or you've been dogged out and you see somebody who's, even if you don't want that man, it at least says, I want that. I want a nigga who's going to go to work and come home at night, who ain't going to have me out here looking crazy.
Everyday face.
So what I'm saying is that the scripture says that it is not good for man to be alone. When people feel alone, when people perceive that they are alone, there are some desperate things people will do out of loneliness. They don't think clearly. And so if you are with the person that you're with and you're not emotionally checked out, you want to be there, invest, build intimacy. So stick with us for these next 3 episodes as we kind of talk through some ingredients that will help you build intimacy. It's cold out here.
I'm not even gonna say what I'm about to sing. Yeah, I'm about to sing a song, and I don't need to sing this.
So
It's hard out here for
there are people out here that will take what you're complaining about, that would gladly take it.
with a smile on their face, baby.
A smile on their face. A brother of mine said
Skip on
that
up the road.
he had told his wife she wanted a tattoo.
Oh God.
And he had told her, you got no money for no tattoos right now, but when you get it, when we get the money, I'm going to tattoo you up. So they're riding on a date night one night. And she's looking on her phone on Instagram. She says, ooh, I want henna so bad. He told me, oh, God, thank you, God. Yes. He was like, what she look like? She said, I'm talking about on my skin, some henna artwork.
Wow.
Just deprive it.
Wow. I have
What
no
she
words.
look like?
I have no words.
But I'm telling you, there are people out here who are lonely, who want some company.
Yeah.
Piece of a man. Some people believe a piece of a man is better than no man. Some people believe that piece of a woman is better than no woman. Now listen, if you open that refrigerator up and what you don't like to eat is not in there, you're going to close it up and go on about your business, DoorDash. But
Get hungry enough.
Baby,
you're going to find something in that refrigerator and make it do what it do.
Inching it down, okay? Your standard go keep getting lower and lower and lower. You know what? I'm going to make this tuna sandwich and get on up the road and fill my stomach up. So it is in our society.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but I ain't going to take it back. The standard is getting lower and lower. And people are either saying, I'm not going to entertain nothing.
Yeah.
Or just give me a little bit to just hold me over.
Yeah, I'm just going to take what I can get.
Now, okay, we got to go, bro. I'm talking too much. Everybody who's out here single is not out here alone.
Come on, say that. Some people are happy and content and satisfied.
They just need somebody to come through every now and then. Yeah, that's it. Just come take a little edge off.
They have consensual partners that they do life with, and then they continue to enjoy their singleness.
Y'all not ready for that episode. So,
well,
intimacy. If you're going to be there, you can't investigate. You can't build intimacy.
Yeah.
You can't use the ingredients of intimacy if you're checked out.
Yeah.
So go within. Then hopefully something we said tonight aids you in going within to find out, why you respond the way you do. Why you want what you want.
Now that's a question.
Why you want what you want? No.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'll answer.
All right. So I think we're complete. Anything you want to add?
Do I want to add anything? Just remember that every topic we cover, you can't just cherry pick it. You need all 5 ingredients if you want healthy intimacy with the person you're in a relationship with. Be it platonic or, a partner or a spouse or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, however you want to label that person you're doing life with. Yeah. You need all 5 ingredients.
One at a time, though. This is a journey. We have areas in these 5. We need to probably speak to that next time.
Okay.
What area we would be most strongest in?
What is my strongest ingredient?
Us. Like rating which one would we say we needed the most work in, and which one we feel like we have the strongest in.
Okay.
Just to communicate the fact that all of them may not be kicking on all 12 cylinders.
Yeah.
But the journey is getting the couple getting closer, understanding each other.
Yeah.
So,
and not expecting perfection, because perfection is not real unless you're just willing to accept that person how they are.
This is good.
Yeah.
Safety.
And
then tonight was
You're hilarious.
My brain, this pineapple juice.
Investment and safety. Let me help him out.
You gonna let me pull it up and do?
Well,
Investment.
He had the mic. I was just trying to let him be great.
Ingredients for intimacy.
Yeah.
All right. We got to go eat dinner. Every episode, we always say that marriage
is for grown folks.
This is grown folk talk, y'all.
Yeah.
We'll see you next episode.
Bye.
Good night.